Jeez. Hey, Mike. Well, it picks up again and starts working again. The only thing I can tell you guys is it's AT&T. AT&T. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it's going to take to lock back in. The only thing I can tell you guys is it's AT&T. AT&T. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it's going to take to lock back in. I'm going to stand here for a minute because it is working. If I put my phone right here, of course, I'm not going to be able to read anything you guys are. I'm going to stand here for a minute because it is working. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it's doing. Let's turn that down. Is that it? Is it working? 5 by 5. So yeah, apparently the cell phone does not like where I am 5 feet away from the camera. Go figure, modern technology. Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Sorry for putting Tiger in timeout. I was dancing around, I don't know if you guys heard any of that, but I was dancing around trying to figure out audio issues, buffering issues, and all those kind of things. And anyhow, I wasn't paying attention to the phone. I'm just holding it like this. And I apologize, I did that, sorry. My bad. Don't beat me up so bad, guys. Hey, welcome to the live stream. We're here on the back deck of the Dora F. We're going to just start over from where we were and tell you guys, I was hoping to catch Captain Johnny down here so he could kind of tell us what's going on with the boat and what kind of issues that he is still having. Just sitting here on the boat, I can look over and I see the latest expansion tank that he had acquired. And I actually, if you guys saw that video, actually went down in the engine room and tried to mount it up. It just would not fit. While they're the same series motor, I guess this one has some modifications, or it's a later in the series run. That tank simply does not fit this. A lot of the other pieces and parts that are on the front of that engine interfere with where this tank that he has acquired fits. So I see it's back up here on the deck, and maybe he's moving on to an idea. We did have somebody that mentioned the old tank, try to rework that. I'm sure that Captain Johnny is looking at all those options. One thing about that old tank, I'll tell you that it is heavy. As heavy as this tank was, that tank over there is much more heavy. It's made out of a lot heavier steel, and I think Captain Johnny's thinking about the weight. He doesn't want all that weight up there kind of vibrating around on top of that engine, and I understand that. So Captain Johnny's very resourceful, and I would expect that he's going to find an idea for that. Things that went on this past week, again, I don't know how much you guys probably didn't have sound for this, but the video that we shot of the Lisa Suzanne trying to make it up on the railway in a failed attempt to get it up on the railway because the tide was not cooperating. I was flying the drone, and man, when I'm flying the drone, I'm kind of in my own little world there, and I'm looking at the shot, I'm looking at the viewfinder. I'm trying to get you guys the best shot I can get. It's always in my mind. A lot of things. I'm thinking about the sun, I'm thinking about shadows. I wasn't thinking about the tree that was right over my head. And it wasn't a very tall tree, it was only about 15 feet. I impacted that tree, the drone fell, and 15 feet, you don't think, that's not going to be a bad one. I was expecting to just go pick it up and put it back in the air. But when it fell to the ground, that drone has 4 legs. It impacted one of those legs almost in a pure vertical downward motion, snapped the motor off, broke the wires, broke the leg. That drone is gone back to get some repair done. And mind you, that's the same drone that's been swimming I lost it over on the dike on the other side of the river. It's been through a lot. So we sent it back, and hopefully we'll get that back very soon. But for right now, the Minorcan Air Force is grounded. We do not have at least the drone. I've got other drones. I don't like to fly them because they don't bring you guys good images. I like to bring you guys good stuff in 4K, and I think you guys appreciate it. So that's where we are with the drone. I'm a little down this week because of the drone, but I'll rebound. I will rebound. We're still hoping that Captain Johnny can get everything straightened out here on the Door F before the roe shrimp season starts. And typically that season starts towards the end of April, beginning of May. A lot of variables and factors. It's all on when the shrimp begin to move off, or actually they're moving back in. The roe shrimp are coming back in the lake. So hopefully he can get this straightened out. Every day, it's another day that, you know, the boat needs to be running to be able to run the winch, to work the net, to pick the nets up and down. So he can't. There's a lot of things he can't do unless the boat's running, and there's still a lot of work to do. And not only does he have to straighten out the cooling problem, but don't forget he's still got to work out the control issue with the from the control binnacle that's up forward at the control station. That's got to be worked out. The drive for the winch itself and the power takeoff unit goes on front of the engine. That's got to be installed. If there's any modifications to that, won't know about those modifications until the cooling tank is in place, because you got to work around that. He still has some things to do to get ready for the season, and I'm just hoping that he doesn't get pinched, so we can get these things resolved as quickly as we can, and be able to get him back out on the water. You know, this boat has a lot of history, not only in this area, but this whole southeastern part. This boat was built in St. Augustine in 1955. She's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, working shrimp boat still on the East Coast. And Captain Johnny has loved this thing just about to death. So I know you guys have been with us when we've actually been shrimping on it. When Derek and I went over our Christmas holiday, I would love to see this old boat continue on. It's got a lot of history, and to be honest with you, Captain Johnny is a huge part of the history of this thing. Those guys are becoming more rare every year. It seems like we lose one of the guys, the old school guys, the OGs, and I want to see him out here. He makes my day every time I see Captain Johnny. He's just got that disposition that just makes me smile. And he's a guy that I like to be around. Super guy. So I'm hoping the best for that. We're going to take a look here. Let's try to catch up here. Who's in, who's out. John SS, welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, yeah, I'd be happy, Tiger. We can discuss that. Because, you know, there are some cowboys out there. If you're flying a drone, and the FAA started cracking down on this, you got to have, we just refer to it as your 107. It's a Part 107 certificate issued by the Federal Aviation Administration, and it's a license to commercially operate a drone and then take those images that you capture and put them out on YouTube, Facebook, fly, real estate property. You know, you can just imagine the possibilities for having a drone on making a profit. You got to have a 107 for that. And there's a different set of rules for 107 pilots versus recreational drone pilots. And we also have more leeway on places we can fly, because we've had to study airspace and understand what the FAA considers our box, 400 feet, and what we can and can't fly around and that kind of thing. I'm a pilot. I've been a private pilot for many years, and because I already had that license, getting a 107 for me was relatively easy. I already had the necessary ground school training completed as far as airspace and understanding some other things and operations of the FAA. It was relatively easy for me to go ahead and get my 107, which worked out good. And once I did that, I was able to officially start flying the drone and putting those images up on YouTube. I did a lot of drone work with the wreck of the Golden Ray, and actually I think that I got screwed over a little bit by some different agencies, because they didn't like me flying my drone. They didn't like the images that I was putting out, and they tried to squelch me, but it ended up being all for naught when about 5,000 gallons of heavy petroleum oil spilt out of the ship and wound up on the beach. Then the cat was out of the bag for really what was going on out there. That's another story. Hey, you guys want to watch it? I did some 400 videos on that. Jump on there and enjoy, because there's plenty there to look and learn from. But yeah, that's the 107. That's the drone. That's using a drone on YouTube. And if you don't have a 107 and you are putting images up on YouTube and being compensated for it by YouTube, you're in violation. And the FAA can and has in the past come after people, and then they find the dickens out of you and make your life miserable. So yeah, they can do that kind of thing. It's the government, guys. You know, don't fight them. Just kind of roll with it where you can. Hey, John. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. I try to give guys pretty decent images from the drone. Try to do what I can, where I can, when I can. Just before we went live, the Moran tug, and we got a new Moran tug here at the port, and it's a tractor tug. I think we did a little video. Yeah, we did a little video on the Diane Moran, and instead of having rudders, this tugboat has two pods that can rotate, and they can apply torque in 360 degrees, sideways, forwards, backwards, diagonally, whatever the call is, what is needed, they're able to do it with that tugboat. And they were out here doing some maneuvers with it, and I was hopefully going to be able to bring that to you guys, but they got finished doing their maneuvers before I could get live. That's the story of my life. Hey, I want to show you guys something I've been working on. Now, I'm not going to assemble this right now. I don't want to drop that overboard. But this is my new live streaming remote camera. Well, you guys can see I got the erector set out, and I built a bracket for a 4K Hollyland transmitter and a battery pack, and I'm running off of a little Sony Handycam. It's an old Handycam, but it works great. And with this setup, And this setup, which is the, this is a DJI Ronin S gimbal. I can put this on this, and it gives me the capability of doing live streams from a gimbal and do it smoothly. I'm hoping to be able to get this thing set up. That's going to be one of my next projects, is to go ahead and fire this thing up. I want to make sure it's right before I break it out and really go after it. But this is something I've been working on probably for the past 2 weeks. Derek has kind of been coaching me along, but this is kind of what I've come up with, and I'm working on it. It does work. I've got to master some things on it, and when that happens, you guys are going to have some pretty neat videos live. It's the little things like that that I try to do for you guys to bring y'all something special. I hope you dig it. I hope you like it. Let's see. What do we got going on? Andy Long, my good buddy Andy Long, is in the chat. Haney, missing you, guy. Wish you were here. I think Andy Long made a trip or two with me around the Golden Ray back in the day. Y'all, it's so hard for me to try to read what's going on with you guys in the chat, because for some reason this setup doesn't want to work unless the phone, I don't know, of some of these outriggers or something. I don't know why it would work there and not work here. If there's anybody out there with a cellular data provider or company and knows the ins and outs, I'd love to hear about all that kind of stuff and kind of understand why it does and then why it doesn't. I really would. I hope the audio is good enough for you guys to hear the crackles, the blackbirds that are out here, and maybe not so much hearing the wind that's come up. All this was not here when we started. It's a byproduct of the afternoon, and of course I think we're supposed to have a little bit of weather. We've had some beautiful days here. Past two, maybe 3 days have been beautiful. And that's always an indicator to me. If you get some days like that, that are really nice, sour weather's coming, and I'm sure it's going to be here before long. We're going to get some of that as well, I'm sure. But yeah, pretty good chance of rain for actually tomorrow. I don't know, we'll see what happens. Other than that, you know, the week has been pretty good, and I think we were able to bring you guys a little bit of decent video. Oh, I know what else I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Minorcan Mullet, the boat, and what's going on with that. I had a conversation last night with another commercial guy up from Derek's neck of the woods. He's from up around Edisto Island, and he had seen my video that I put up of the things that I've been doing to the boat, and in particular, the issue I was having with the water in the gear oil. And this is interesting, and I don't know if there's any marine mechanics out there, but I want you guys to listen to what he told me. When you use a boat to pull hard, like I do, or push hard, like Derek does, that puts it puts a lot of pressure on the gearbox and generates a lot more heat in there that would otherwise be dissipated. If you're in a boat and say you're running 50 or 60 miles an hour in an offshore boat, you're really hammering on it. And that motor's working hard, but you're moving 50 or 60 miles an hour through the water. A lot of water is going around that foot, and it's helping to keep those gears cool. There's a lot of heat exchange taking place. When you're pushing or pulling something at a slow speed, shrimping, or like Derek's case, pushing the food boat at a relatively slow speed, you don't have a lot of water flow over the foot, and it generates heat. That causes expansion in there. The oil that is in that case and whatever airspace is still in there expands. It pushes by the seal, the output seal, and the output seal being where the shaft goes, where the propeller attaches. It pushes out. When it does cool down, when you pick up and start running and you do get water flow over, it cools down. And now what you've done is you're creating a vacuum. You're lowering that air pressure, and so it pulls water by the seal. He said he was told by some factory guys at Yamaha that there is no seal made that can completely eliminate the possibility of water being pulled into the gearbox on the outboard. That's what he told me, and I got thinking about it, and I said, you know what, it makes a lot of sense, because you don't have the water flow when that motor's really working. You don't have the water flow over the foot, and that can generate heat. The heat causes expansion, pushes the pressure up into the gearbox, pushes it out past the seal, and then when it cools down, now there's a negative pull, and it pulls the water, because you're outside of it still. There's a water environment. You pull that right back in the gearbox. So maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. I want to get the seal replaced on that lower unit, and while they have to drop the foot to take care of, check all the seals and everything, I'm going to get the water pump. And for me, where we are in this type of water, I don't know about you guys if you're into boating, but because we have such a high degree of sediment, and also the places I operate the boat, I'm not always in the best of situations. I'm up by the beach, I'm close to the sand, or I'm in a creek and there's a lot of mud going on around it. I have a tendency to be pretty rough on the pumps. So I like to keep those changed out. About every 2 years, I want to change out the pump, make sure we get a new one in there so we don't have any overheating issues in the power head, if that makes sense. So we're going to get that done, and when I drop the boat off, I can tell you it's beginning to turn into boating season, because his lot was full of repairs to be done. Hopefully what I did speeds up the operation. They're changing the oil, it's not a big deal for me, and fuel filters and that kind of thing is not a big deal. So hopefully that kind of speeds it up. They know what they got to do. They'll get in and get it done and get me back in the water. I still got to clean it up. There's a lot of cleaning up to do on the old boat. It's probably going to take me a day to go through that. I just want to, get it cleaned up after it's been bleached and make it white again. So what's going on in here? Yeah, that's exactly right, Andy. You hit the nail on the head. Do that, but apparently through the factory people say there's just not a seal. The technology is just not there to make it work, to completely seal it under those circumstances. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on here. People saying they're banned. Nobody's banned. Nobody's banned from the channel. We do try to exercise a little bit of discretion here on the Minorcan Mullet channel. And I think that goes a long way. I'm not saying you can't get creative with your language. Some people can. I certainly do. I can do it in a way without being obscene. That's a challenge for today. Once you get the next person you run into, cuss them out without cussing them out. There's a good challenge for somebody today. Just be careful who you do it to. Make sure they're smaller than you. Just a tip. I see that down the river there's another ship in port, and God, I wish I had the drone. It looks like they're loading paper down at the Mayor's Point terminal. Cranes open, the ship's tied up, and they got the cranes out open. You can see the bulkhead, or the battens, whatever you call those, the big slide, so that they can work in and out of there and bring whatever it is they're bringing in. It looks like paper. If I get right and I look straight down this, I'm looking right down the waterfront. I can see the tugboats, and I can see the side of the ship, which is half a mile or more away from where I am right now. So a lot going on. A lot going on down at the, a lot of crane activity going on down there at the Mayor's Point terminal today, moving stuff and goodies. I want to try to spin this around, and we're talking about Captain Johnny's rig, and that, if that looks familiar to you guys, that's the old expansion tank, or the new old expansion tank. Yeah, that's it. A lot of stuff still going on back here on the door F. He's still trying, you know. There's just a lot of stuff. And I've mentioned this a time or two about the GoFundMe account that's out there for Captain Johnny. Help Captain Johnny fix his boat. I know that some of your viewers, subscribers, have thrown a few greenbacks at it. Thanks. Captain Johnny certainly appreciates it. He was not anticipating having this kind of setback, and it's dwindling. It's dwindling his reserve. Do you guys remember when this boat was taken out of the water? You remember it had a leak and had to come up on the railway. It was sinking. The fiberglass had cracked. Said, I got to get it up after the season and do some fiberglass for that. And he's having to move money around to take care of getting this engine and this clutch steel taken care of. So if you got it in your heart and feel like helping an old, crusty, mean-ass shrimper out, who is one of the best guys in the world, Captain Johnny, check out his GoFundMe. Throw him a couple bucks. This is a good guy, and you guys know it. Anybody that's been on the channel and watched the live stream that we did, that Derek and I did on the boat, know this guy. He is the genuine article. He is old-time fisherman. There are not very many of this guy like him around anymore. Almost wish that he could start teaching, have a class to start teaching what it is and how it is and how it happens. He'd be a great guy to do it. He's a legend around here and a legend around the region with what he's done as far as shrimping and what he's been involved with. Good guy, really good guy. But for those of you that have, thanks, appreciate that. It means a lot. I know that we had one viewer that stopped by and left a couple $100 for him, left $200 for him, and he didn't really know how to respond to that. It was a little bit overwhelmed just by that. So, I mean, he's that kind of guy. He's not going to ask you. He's not going to say, "Hey, I need some help." He's too proud. But he does appreciate all you guys, and he's come to enjoy the channel, and it's all because of you guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Well, it's been a fun afternoon here on the back deck and just kind of shooting the breeze with you guys. I'm sorry for what we had with technical issues and problems and things like that, but it happens sometimes. Hopefully we're going to be able to do a few more of these and be able to grab some people and have them on and talk a little bit about what's going on around the waterfront, especially around with these old boats. It's kind of a neat little hobby of mine. YouTube in itself is something I really enjoy doing, but it gives me the opportunity to share some things with other people that really means a lot to me, and I can see it going away. And I think a lot of people don't understand how threatened this industry is and how close it is to going away. And that's going to be a sad day when it happens. We're going to try to get as much video and content about it as we can, so it's there for people to go back and look and enjoy and see what it was like. Well, hey, that's about all we got for today. Thanks for being here with us on this live stream. As always, hey, leave us some comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, doesn't cost you nothing. It's free. Hit the subscribe button over there. Give us some thumbs up. But most of all, hey, we want you guys to be safe out there. You guys take care.